welcome back to another episode of Horror Huddle. I'm your host, Stacey Beth, and we have Ash here as always.
Howdy.
Today we are doing a movie that just came out on Netflix. I think it got released sometime last year. We're doing 2017's Nightworld. We actually had I wanted to do another movie, but we just decided not to, and Ash suggested that we do this one because I had told him that a new movie with Robert Englund had popped up on Netflix.
So blame her for this. She's the one that brought it up to me.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so it's called Nightworld, and it's directed by...
It was done by Gravitas Ventures, which, if you know anything about really kind of low-grade, shitty horror that's been released in the last 10 years... It's the stamp of mediocrity, basically, for any movie to be.
And honestly, I can't recall. I know seeing that name, when I watched a movie pop up before, but for the life of me, I can't remember what movies I've watched that production company has done. So
mediocrity. If it was a better movie, you'd remember.
Yeah. So this one was directed by, and I don't know who this is, Patricio Valladares. I'm not too sure. I didn't really go too deep into it on IMDb or anything. Yeah. I did see, though, the thing that first popped out to me when I looked at it on Netflix was that it's starring Jason London, who is not the crazy one who claimed to be kidnapped and forced to smoke crystal meth. It is his brother, who was in Dazed and Confused. Yeah. Yes, and starring a couple of other people.
Dazed and Confused and nothing else?
No, I think he was in something. I just don't remember. Fuck, what was the other movie that he was in?
Blanking. I have no idea. Honestly, that's the only movie I was like, oh yeah, he was in that. Mm-hmm. But it stars him and Robert Englund.
Which...
Freddy Krueger himself. Well, not Freddy Krueger, but Robert Englund.
Yeah, which clearly was probably trying to be their selling point.
Yeah, that was exactly what it was. That
Robert Englund was going to be in this movie, and he was in it.
He was in a few scenes, no less.
He was in it. So the basic plot of this is Jason London is playing the character Brett, who is this former LAPD officer who is living in Bulgaria, because I guess his wife is from there. He accepts this kind of like mysterious job offer in a city in Bulgaria, and as like this head of security of this old apartment building. And his job description seems like pretty easy enough. It's just sit at this bank of CCTVs and watch this one room, and if you see anything strange, pick up this old ass phone and call somebody, and they'll be on their way. And okay, that's it, easy enough. Well, of course, spooky stuff happens.
First off, let's talk about the room.
No, I know. I'm going through the basic plot, okay. the IMDb type plot. And spooky stuff happens, and he realizes the owners in the building are hiding dark secrets. That's the gist of it. So
I guess.
So tell them what he's guarding or what he's supposed to keep an eye on.
Honestly, I have no fucking idea. He's supposedly guarding a room.
Yeah.
A room that has no lights in it, because I guess lights don't work in there, but somehow video cameras do. Mm-hmm. That only picks up maybe a very black background with a little bit of white something. You don't even know what it looks. It looks like a fucking smudge on all the monitors. Mm-hmm. And they just say, if you see anything go across the white area, give us a call. And I'm like, okay, but the problem is, why aren't you asking more questions? Because that nice little room is guarded by a big fucking demonic looking door.
Yeah.
Not a good looking demonic door, because it looks actually pretty fucking lame. It doesn't look like they painted it.
No.
But I'm like, first time I would see that door, I'd be like, wait, what the fuck's in that room?
Yeah.
Is it,
Yeah, and like if they said, are you interested after seeing this? And that, like, if it was this really giant, menacing door that looks like there's probably some occulty stuff going on. And I mean, not to mention the fact that you're in Europe, and Europe is rife with
and they even tell them there's these glyphs over the door. There's glyphs. We don't know what they mean. And I was like,
he said they're
I'd be like, fuck it, thank you, I'm out.
He said they're like the Enochian alphabet or some crazy shit like that. I'd be like, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. I'm gonna have to decline. I'm gonna go work security at Target. I'll see you later. I'm okay with this. And it's funny because it's not like he was hard up for money. It's not like he was offered this really, difficult, wow, fine, I'll watch over this really menacing looking door in this really menacing old historic apartment building because I'm broke and they're offering me $100 million in Bulgarian money.
Which probably only equals like $20 US.
Yeah, right. It honestly, and that's kind of what I was waiting for, was there something to say, hey, well, here's this really, this offer you can't refuse.
Well, I think that was when they offered him the apartment, because remember, the apartment has cable.
And they made sure to tell him that it had cable and all the bells and whistles, but it's really small, though. I mean, it's a European apartment, so it's not like he was staying in this really, lavish castle or, this really majestic place. It was like this old-ass building that you needed a key or you're going to get your ass locked out somewhere. So I said, it really came down to, there was no real reason for him to, there was no reason that he couldn't turn down this offer.
Well, later he has a reason not to, because who does he meet after this meeting?
He goes to a cafe where there's this really, unnecessary dialogue, of, I want the American coffee. She's like, no, you don't want that shit. And he's like, but I like that shit. Har, har. Fine, I'll have one of y'all's coffees. And she's telling him oh yeah, I saw you in the cab. I saw you outside.
No. What she sounds like she says is, oh, sorry about when inside cab. And I was like, wait, she was inside the cab? No, wait, he went from the fucking airport straight to that place. Wait, was that a scene that was cut? And Stacey was telling me, she's like, no. She's like, she said she saw him in the cab. The only reason why I fucking know that, though, is because I had subtitles turned on. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't understand half of what she fucking says.
And it's funny because it's not like she doesn't
relationship.
Yeah, and she doesn't have this really thick accent. It's not even that. It's just she's not I don't know. I just felt like she wasn't really enunciating her words enough.
Continues throughout the whole movie.
Oh my! And there was just a whole issue with the accents and everybody, and it's because the main guy that owns the building or that's giving him this job has a combination of different accents. One was this Cockney accent, and then it turned into an Irish accent, and then it turned into normal, and then I couldn't really understand what was going on. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know where he came from. I didn't understand why.
I think the actor didn't know where he was from either. That's why.
Yeah. So of course we have to kind of kind of taking it back to the beginning is when you first see it. It's you realize that the dialogue doesn't seem forced. It just seems very by the book. They're very much so just reading it like I wrote right here. It starts out with not so natural dialogue and a sleepy looking Jason London. It just, they were just reading it, and they put a little bit of emotions into it, but it wasn't natural. It wasn't.
Well, and that's one thing I think you and I said we both take from this movie. That's actually the one few positives is most of the actors most of them, not all of them, but most of them seem to be putting on a pretty good performance. It's just the words that are coming out of their fucking mouth sometimes don't make sense, and when they do, it seems kind of bad writing.
Yeah, the acting really wasn't bad at all. It's just like I said, it was more of the dialogue and the way that they weren't emoting, there just wasn't a lot involved in it. And like I said, it's not forced, whatever. They just didn't make it natural, so it was kind of hard. And the way that it was with the music is, and when I first probably the first 10 or 15 minutes, I texted Ash and I was telling him that it seemed. It felt like I was watching or I was playing one of those Telltale video games, where you've got the music behind it and they're just talking like this and that, it just seemed bizarro to me.
But yeah, let's talk about weird accents. Basically, as the story goes on, weird stuff starts to happen in the place. He sees a shadow, and of course the guys are a shadow in the cameras, and of course the guys told him, if you see anything, give a call to this number and talk to, what was his name?
Oh my God, I forgot.
Yeah, I did too. Robert Englund's character.
I honestly was not paying attention.
So he calls Robert Englund's character and he's like, hey, I need some help. I see something and he's like, I'll be right over.
I don't even remember Jason London's character's name now. And I honestly just finished the movie 2 hours ago. I don't remember anybody's name.
But finally, the big name, the name that really made everyone want to watch this movie shows up. Robert Englund playing a non-national, because you can't understand where his accent's coming from, because it's kind of there, but you don't know what the fuck it is. And he's blind.
You know who, now I realize who he was dressed like as when he first showed up, is he was dressed as, you know how in A Christmas Story when Ralphie has that daydream where he's blind and he's got the glasses on and the brown jacket? That's what he looked like. He looked like Ralphie when he had that dream that he was blind.
Now, if only he would have told Jason London, I got it because of soap poisoning.
Yes.
He shows up and basically blinds his way through the scenes, giving exposition, and that seems like that's all his character is good for throughout this movie. Just pushing exposition as far as what the fuck is supposed to be going on, but we don't know because
exactly. Like he was, like you said, he was only there to be like, this is why. This is why. I'm not really going to help guys because I'm blind, so I can't really do anything. So I'm just blind and I'm here. I'm just, like you said, I'm pushing exposition. And at this point, I think, sorry, it just started raining. It scared me. A little bit afterwards, I looked at the timestamp and realized it was 50 minutes in, and I'm like, okay, I've got, maybe about another 28 minutes left to go, maybe another 30 minutes. I got up and went and made chicken nuggets. I went and took a pee. I didn't even pause the movie. I just went. I came back. I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, you did. You did. All that happened was the girlfriend gets mad at him because
oh my God,
he wasn't answering the phone.
Yeah.
And she's like, I tried to give you coal. And I was like, coal? No, cowl?
Like, what is she, Santa Claus?
And then literally his character, right after she says, I would try to give you coal, he's like, what? And I was like, that's what I'm thinking. But then they kind of, start drinking, I think it was, talking about the past, where you get the exposition about why he quit being a police officer and that his wife, which didn't quite make sense, he shot a kid on the job. Quit the force. So he had that in him. I killed a kid. Well, what does he do? Nothing. It's his wife that kills herself. What? So
here's my thing, though, was like, why did you wait till 50 plus minutes into the movie to tell us that? Why didn't you tell us that in the beginning?
When was it? Wikipedia told you that right off the bat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just like, why didn't they say that in the beginning when they were having their little, like, Miller High Life commercial, like, scene where they're sitting there drinking a beer at the lake? Like, why didn't they say that? It was so bizarre. So let's get into the fucking sex scene.
That leads straight to the sex scene now. Again, she's asked about these things, and he's like, well, I got kicked off the force, I left the force because I killed a kid. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, who's this? That's my wife. She killed herself. She freaks out, and it's like, oh, God, I'm sorry. Leaves the scene, about to leave the front door, and he grabs her. I don't want you to go. And then just starts making out with her. And I was like, so talking about traumatic shit gets your boat running, doesn't it?
Yeah, like...
And that leads to a very awkward sex scene.
Like, that sex scene, like, disturbed me deeply on some levels that I didn't understand, because it was just like, it was a very, very... it was a sex scene. It wasn't anything crazy. It really wasn't graphic. There was no boobies. I mean, you saw him grabbing a titty. But it just felt like...
bland. It was really bland. For a sex scene, it's like, neither of them seemed like they were into it. It didn't seem like it was filmed like anyone who was filming it was into it. It just seemed very by the numbers. They make out with her with a nightie on and him with, I think, his shirt off. And then her riding him, but you don't see anything.
It honestly was just really unnecessary. It didn't feel like there was any reason to have a sex scene in there.
Well, there was.
Well, no, it was unnecessary even for that scene, because you do get a quick scene, of course, of, blood spilling on him, and he looks up and he's seeing it's his wife.
Which he then proceeds to either push, punch, or kick the girl off of him, because you hear a distinct thud when it happens. And then she falls back and she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, bitch, I would be telling him, fuck you, asshole. Why'd you fucking do that? And I'd walk out. But no, she's like, are you okay?
Yeah.
I was like, no, you don't say that after you've just been punched off of a guy. No.
Like I said, the scene was unnecessary. There really was no scene. And it kind of took me back to where I was saying is that the whole relationship aspect of it was really unnecessary. There was no reason to have a love interest in there, honestly. I felt like there wasn't, even though I know she played a part up until the end as well. It just really seemed like, I honestly would have much preferred to see him on his own, like, you know, kind of trying to, like, figure his own shit out with killing that kid, with his wife killing herself, and him figuring this whole mystery out on his own and kind of, you know, like Indiana Jonesing it on his own, you know.
To the narrative that they set up, she was just a plot device. Ultimately, that's all she was.
Exactly. Like, that's why I said I think, of course, we don't like the movie, but I feel like it would have benefited just a hair more if she was not in the picture and it was just him going through, you know, processing this grief and struggling and then having to deal with this shit. You know, I think it probably would have, like I said, would have just made it a hair better.
Just about that with all of his nightmares. Mm-hmm. From the very beginning, he had a nightmare about his wife cutting her own throat. I'm like, okay, he's a troubled guy, so that would work. You're in a house that might be haunted, might have demons, might have anything. It would be better if he was having these same things and then contemplating his own sanity because he's like, fuck, I might be actually fucked up because my wife's death.
Exactly.
And it would have been great to have that play out instead of the way it kind of this movie, which it was. We have a bunch of those weird nightmares where he wakes up from them, but there's no real
doesn't really
payoff.
do anything. Yeah. So what we end up finding out through Robert Englund's exposition pushing, that we see this old guy up at the, you know, in the penthouse, and he's.
No one knew about.
I'm just, you know, I'm not going to really dive into it. I'm just going to tell you bit by bit. He apparently he's like got, you know, he's on a, you know, a ventilator, this life support. He's 150 years old. He's a gatekeeper. That door down there is one of the 7 gates to hell, which are around the world. And he is the gatekeeper, and he's dying currently. And
he saved the house.
Once he dies, that gate becomes unprotected, and once that gate is breached, all hell's gonna break loose, literally. And so at this point, me and Ash both realized this sounds really, really similar to the Sentinel from the 70s, and actually we did.
Well, even down to Robert Englund, who played the guy who guarded it beforehand. He's blind, and I was like, yeah, that old priest in The Guardian, he was blind. What's her face at the end of the movie? Was blind.
Yeah, like it which is funny that it brought up us thinking about the Sentinel, because we actually did do a Horror Huddle episode, which I have yet to post. I do plan on doing that in the next couple of weeks, but it's just like, wow, that is really similar. And I realized as well, it reminded me of The Beyond, Lucio Fulci's The Beyond, aka The 7 Doors of Death. And I was just like, wow, this is kind of like that. And I found out through IMDb, I'm not too sure how true it is, it's just on IMDb trivia though, that in Bulgaria the movie is known as The Beyond. I'm like, huh? Like, fuck. Like, it might make people think it's a remake, you know, or a shitty remake or something.
City is right.
That's pretty much it. That's really it. That's what you get out of it, is that it's the 7 gates, and you know, of course, like I said, we're not going to go super scene by scene at the end of it or anything, but
let's at least kind of, you know, go.
They make their way in there.
Robert says that there's something in there that's messed up, and we have to go in there and fix it, or else the doors of hell or the nether realm or whatever will open.
Did we ever get explained what was messed up?
No, not at all.
Or do you think?
But the only thing we got was we have to go down there.
Or do you think the reason it was messed up was because the guy was dying? So why would you need to go down there if the guy's dying up there?
Exactly. Because I told her was getting to that point. I was like, trust me, the movie just goes right off the rails from here on out, and it does.
So yeah. So people go.
So it's like, okay, Robert Englund and Jason's character has to go down there. Why does the girlfriend go? If I was Jason, I would be like, babe, we had some weird sex, but I do care about you enough. You don't need to be in the house. You can go. No, take her with you. Take her with you into this weird hellscape. That's fine.
Yeah. And the best friend shows up as well, and he goes with them also.
Yeah.
So, to fast forward through it, slowly everybody starts getting picked off by the dead that are down there, except for the girlfriend and Jason. Jason finds his wife. The wife comes out with him. The girlfriend somehow is bleeding. We don't know why. And the wife is trying to convince him to get the key and unlock the door because at this point, the old man upstairs,
ghost.
Yeah, the old man upstairs has died. So there's really nobody protecting. So she's saying, hey, unlock the door. Come on. And he's about to. There's a weird, like a really, really shitty ghost / current girlfriend catfight, and
but what do you do with the ghost? What do you do with the murderous ghost?
Shoots her in the head, and she dies.
Exactly.
And I was like, she's already dead. She's already a ghost. How could you? Okay, whatever. Fine. I won't.
At this point, you're willing to accept anything because it's just so gone.
I'll just have to deal with it. And she dies, and then you realize that they all die except for Jason, and so the rest of them are stuck in that home, and the chick dies outside, wakes up, and is about to kill him, and she gets her head blown off by these two menacing-looking men in
the Illuminati, I'm guessing.
There's some kind of, like, group that knows about this and have been protecting this gate for who knows how long.
Yeah. And then they don't actually, he actually says, trust me, come with us and we'll explain everything. I'll be like, no, fuck, tell us now. We want to know.
You want to know what would have made that ending cool? Is if he's looking up at the window and he sees all of them up there and he gets the gun and shoots himself in the head. And then he ends up in there too.
To be with his weird fuck buddy.
Right? And then you realize that like he's stuck too, because he can't handle it. They all died.
But that gets to the other point of what the Illuminati guy said. He's like, come with us. We'll explain everything. It's okay. You've done your job. You've done a good job. And I was like, no, he didn't. The gate's open. The door's open.
You had one job and you didn't do it.
He fucked up. The house is now being flooded with dead. They're going to kill the old guy upstairs, and that's going to make them, I guess, escape into the real world?
I guess. I don't know.
So I was like, no, he didn't do his fucking job.
And I mean, honestly, my feelings can be summed up in my one note underline that says, fuck this movie. Like, really. I just was upset that we didn't really get much explanation afterwards. Like, I would have liked to have known just a little bit more. I don't know what I would have wanted to know, but I just know I would have wanted to know more. You
know what this also ripped off? Cabin in the Woods.
Did they?
Yeah, you have to keep the door closed or the old gods or whatever comes into the real world. At least that one had a satisfying ending.
I feel like that's pushing it a little bit. That's pushing it a little bit.
No, it's about right, but that had a satisfying ending. This did.
Funny thing though is that I was looking at the trivia and I didn't deep dive into this part of it, but like somebody had put on the trivia that I guess at Monster Palooza that when they screened it, Robert Englund was there, and that he said the script was one of the scariest he's read. And I was like, okay, you're fucking nuts. That's not scary at all.
And didn't he compare it to it?
Well, so I ended up reading, afterwards I went and looked up myself, because I was like, I'm going to go look it up and see if I can find that exact quote. I couldn't, but I did find this interview he did with some website where he was telling them that it was, that it was like, not comparable, but like, it was there, like a companion with like It and all these other movies that were vying for attention for that year. And I'm like,
yeah, hold on. Here's the quote, because you texted it to me. It's a nice compliment to It and a couple of other more energetic horror films that are vying for attention this season. I was like, no. Yeah. No. I get it. They gave you money and you want to try to, help them out because they only hired you for your name to sell the movie. So
yeah, I mean,
you did your job, but at the same time, don't compare it to great movies. It's not.
Yeah, he can't say, hey, look, I don't think this movie's going to do well. He has to push it. It just wasn't engaging enough to me. There just wasn't enough to, keep me, like I said, I wasn't invested in any of the characters. I really didn't care what happened to them. I just, I was like, okay, it had a decent premise in the sense that two movies we said were kind of similar to it. The Beyond.
Well, and honestly, the only reason why you would want to go into it, anyone would want to go into it, is if they have some friends around that they can talk to each other about not understanding what the fuck's going on and some of the goofier shit in the movie. Because that's basically what you and I were doing the whole time. We were texting back and forth going, why can't she speak English? Why is there a hot woman going with the 40 or 50-year-old Jason London?
Yeah. Well, and like I was saying, it had the right idea as far as premise because, like I was saying, those two movies did something similar, very similar, and made decent movies. There was no reason that this one couldn't have been.
Sentinel, that's pushing. But then again, Sentinel is still much better than this.
That's why I said decent. But I was just saying, they did have they should have been able to make a decent, low-budget movie. They should have been able to.
But I think, really, honestly, by the way they casted, I think they realized they had a shitty movie. They just casted Robert Englund to hopefully...
Yeah.
Well, it's a shitty movie, but it has Robert Englund in it. He played Freddy. Yay!
I mean, clearly we're terrible at this because I don't know who wrote it, and really what it comes down to is the writing of this movie. Like we said, it wasn't really the acting. It wasn't really the directing. It was really the writing.
It wasn't the camera work, because honestly, there were some good, actually shot scenes in the movie.
Yeah, like it wasn't, and it was shot nicely. It
little
wasn't
creature effects that we did see were actually fairly competent too for what they were. Ghosts. It looked like ghosts.
It just was written poorly, and just it should have been an okay movie at best, and it wasn't really okay. Like, it's not something I will ever watch again. It's not something I would necessarily ever recommend to anybody either, to be honest. I wouldn't recommend it to people.
Let's put it on a scale. Okay, so it's not at the top of our list of one of the best movies ever made. Compare this. Is this better or worse than Spirit in the Woods?
This is better.
There you go. So if you sat through Spirit in the Woods and, haven't opened up an artery, try this one out.
I feel like that's going to be our, gauge for when we review not-so-stellar movies, is we're going to say, was this better or worse than Spirit in the Woods?
Yeah, because everyone needs to have their worst movie, their least favorite horror film of all time. That Spirit in the Woods is kind of mine. So, so it's better than that, so that's good. It's a low bar to cross, but they crossed it. Mm-hmm.
It just, like I said, ultimately it's just not something that I'm going to recommend.
Oh, yeah, but let's end on a good note. The acting was good in places, the acting performances were good in places. Jason London, I think we both agree, did a very competent job. And, if anyone ever watches this video that has any low-budget horror films, give him a shot. He actually did pretty good with the material he had. So, God knows he could use more work.
Let him take a couple of naps before he films, too, because he looked real tired. He just looked tired. Don't let him drink either before filming.
Yeah, but you would want to drink, too, if it was this film.
True, probably. Anyways. Okay, guys, I think that's it for Nightworld. Nightworld? I keep wanting to say Nightmare. I guess Nightworld. Whatever. It's a nightmare. Anyways, if you are... I know I usually post these on toavoidfainting.com, but if you are finding this through our YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe, because we're trying to make our YouTube channel a little bit more present on there.
A little bit.
Not so much just always sending you guys to the site, but if you are watching at the site, go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. We would love to have a lot.
But also, before you go from the site over there, look at a ton of her written articles. They're great.
Yeah, thank you. And Ash has done some stuff on there, too. So I'm trying to get him to do a little bit more. We'll see. But yeah, like I said, subscribe on there if you can. Like our videos on YouTube. Sign up for email notifications on our site so you can get all the emails whenever something gets posted up. And we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.